Welcome to the city of Tak here in Thailand. And it happened again. A Thailand national holiday snuck up on me. As often happens, today is a national holiday, and I didn't even know about it until the day started, and I started walking around and noticing that everything looked different. So, to everyone in Thailand, happy Chulalongkorn Day. And it's a very special holiday because it celebrates one of Thailand's most revered and beloved kings, Chulalongkorn, also known as Rama V. I guess he was the fifth king in the Chakri, the house of Chakri. And he is known as a modernizing monarch. During his reign, he instituted a lot of reforms in Thailand. He succeeded to the throne in 1868, I think, when he was just 15 years old. And I think the story is that he and his father, they actually traveled down into the Malay Peninsula to test his father's calculations about when the next eclipse was going to take place. And while they were there, they both contracted malaria. And I believe his father passed away from the malaria, and it was thought that Chulalongkorn would also pass away. Turns out he didn't. And he went on to become the next king, the next monarch of Thailand. But he succeeded to the throne, his father's throne, when he was 15 years old in 1868, as I said. There's a lot to say about Rama V. He was the very first monarch of Thailand to go to Europe. He visited a range of European countries. He studied English. He had tutors. With his most famous tutor was a woman named Anna Leonowens. And you might know about this woman, not because you know her name or her history, but she wrote her memoirs about her time in the court of Siam. And they eventually based a movie and a Broadway play on that book, which of course was called The King and I. The list of changes that Rama V made and all the reforms he instituted is a very long one. He's probably most famous for abolishing slavery, which is something I didn't know about Thailand, to be honest. According to what I read, at the beginning of his reign, 1/3, some estimates say as many as 1/3 of the entire population of Thailand was technically a slave. It was a system that came into place where people would go into debt and there would be no way for them to pay off the debt. And their one escape was basically to sell themselves to the person that they owed the money to. And there seemed to be this system in place that once you were a slave, it was very difficult for you and then your children to get free of the slavery. So all the children born to slaves became slaves. And it ended up being like 1/3 of the population were slaves. And there was a system of kind of indentured servitude called corvée or something like that. I don't really understand that. But yeah, he abolished slavery, got rid of this corvée system. I'm trying to walk along the river here, and it was pretty easy for a while. There was a sidewalk, a lot of men there selling jewelry and trinkets and things, but now I've reached more of an area where it's harder to find your way. So it looks like I'm going to be back out on the street pretty soon, sort of working my way along this jungly sidewalk. So he abolished slavery, and he seemed like a pretty clever person to me, because this was a time when the European powers were colonizing much of the world. And all the surrounding regions and countries had been colonized by the various European powers. And Thailand remained the one country that was not colonized. And this was largely due to King Rama V. I get the impression that he saw what was going on, and this was why one of the reasons he went to Europe on a lot of these trips. He wanted to establish relationships with the rulers of Europe to let them know that, hey, this is a country. Because the thing with Europeans was they would go around the world, find some land, and they start asking around. It's like, okay, what land is this? What's the name of this country? Who does it belong to? And if they don't get a very clear answer, or there isn't a strong central authority, the Europeans would just say, okay, nobody owns it, it's ours now. You know, we own it now. And they would call it a country, form the country, and then claim it. And I guess at that time, Thailand didn't have a very strong central authority. It was Siam at the time. I keep calling it Thailand, but it was Siam. And Siam didn't have a strong central authority. A lot of the power rested in individual cities. So if the Europeans showed up, it would look to them like this whole vast area was not claimed. It was just all these tiny city fiefdoms. And King Rama instituted reforms where power was taken away from these city-states and moved to him, and created a central authority. And now there was an official, you know, the country of Siam, and he could negotiate with the European powers as the king of this established country, this established kingdom. Again, amateur historian here. Take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. This is just based on casual reading once I found out about this holiday. And I believe his reign continued until he was 57 years old in 1910. I think that's when he passed away, on October 23rd, 1910. And that's when the national holiday is, on October 23rd. But if this holiday happens to land on a weekend, which it does this year in 2021, then they move the holiday to either a Monday or a Friday so as to create a long weekend. I'm not aware of a whole lot of activity surrounding this holiday. From what I read, people will leave flowers and other tributes at statues to Rama V. And when I went out for this walk, I kind of had it in the back of my mind that I would go looking for any statues of Rama V or any sort of park honoring him. And I've been keeping my eyes open for a street or a statue or a park or anything named after this king. I haven't found anything yet, but I did find out that his picture is on the back of the 100 baht coin, or 100 baht bill here in Thailand. And I'm gonna pull one out just now. So I guess there, on the back of the 100 baht note, is King Rama V. And I read that that portrait that you see on the 100 baht note was taken at the time when he announced the abolition of slavery. This is still, I guess, considered one of his greatest achievements. But I haven't seen a statue anywhere yet, but I'll keep my eyes open for one. And since this is a historical holiday, I thought I would try to visit a couple of other places in Tak related to history. While I was looking at Google Maps, I spotted a museum, the Tak City Museum. I'm not entirely sure I know where it is. I saw something about how the Google Maps pin might be in the wrong spot. It may not be open because it is a holiday today. But that's where I'm going to go first. It's a couple of blocks from where I am now. See if this museum is open. And then there is quite a famous alleyway here, supposed to contain a lot of historic homes that were once owned by wealthy Chinese merchants. And I've seen sort of alleyways like this in several places. There was one in Kuala Lumpur that I visited. And I thought this particular alleyway with its old mansions would be interesting to visit. Again, I don't know exactly what's there. I don't think anything is open that you can go inside and look around. I think you can just walk along the walk through the alleyways and look at the outsides of these houses. But a bit of the history of Talk City, and that's what I'm on my way to do. It's a hot day. Yeah, I'm starting to sweat here. Still following alongside the river, and yeah, it's nice in its way. As you can see, there's the Ping River over there, very full, running fast, and they have all these cement sections here where people can sit, and there's benches. Not that well kept. It's all kind of overgrown and left to fall apart, but hey, it's a riverside. You can never go wrong with the riverside. And I've got this platform heading out into the river. Once you get past the mud. Yeah, and these are these cement areas that I was talking about. Sit down here, I guess, and have a snack or a drink at night down by the river. Or come out here. I don't know exactly what this place is. There's the Ping River. And there's the Bicentennial Bridge that I walked over on my last visit. According to my Google mapping, the museum is just up this street right here. And as often happens in my life, I'm starting to doubt my Google mapping. Looks like this whole road has been torn up. It doesn't look like an area where there would be a museum, but we shall go see how far we can get and whether we can find this place. Well, I spotted something that looks very museum-ish, and it has a gate that is open-ish. So maybe today I am lucky-ish. There it is. There it is over there, just across the street. Doesn't that look like a museum? It even has a sign at the front. I did read that there's pretty much nothing here in English. So even when you go into the museum, you don't really come away with much more knowledge in English than you went in with. But they might have some photographs of the city. Oh, look at that. There's even a coffee shop, part of the museum, but of course, on Planet Doug, you can't have everything. That would be too much, and the coffee shop looks to be closed. But, well, that looks as open as a place can get. Let's see, what have we got here? Oh, so there's the sign in Thai. And it has a QR code. I'm not much of a QR code person. I don't tend to use them a lot, but I'm going to give this one a try and see what happens. Also on Planet Doug, I enter places hesitantly with the feeling that I'm just going to get yelled at every moment. Telling, no, you can't go in there or something. But so far, that's why I'm walking so slowly. I want to give people a chance to yell at me if they're going to. But oh, someone just waved at me from the inside, so I think we're in luck. Pretty sure shoes come off. So off come my muddy sandals, muddy from my walk down the river. So yeah, here's the building itself. Man, the building alone is worth dropping by for a visit. Look at that. All wood, 2 stories. I wonder what it was originally. Just a rich person's home, some kind of a government office. And since I always like to get the lay of the land before I go inside, let's take a look at the back area. Let's see what's around the building. Okay, so here's a... Oh, look at that. There's the back of the building. There's a door here too, so I think I'm gonna go in this door. I always like to sneak in through the back door too, instead of making an entrance through the front, like a grand entrance where people feel like they have to take care of you and guide you. I'd rather just sort of discover places on my own. Wow, look at this. Well, this is a pleasant surprise. I had no idea when I woke up this morning that I'd find myself in a place like this. So it looks like this museum is dedicated to a lot of like household items that were used, you know, regularly in the past. I'm going to head up the stairs to the second floor. I think for me, the star of this museum might actually just be the building itself. It's just really nice to be in an old wooden structure like this. A lot of wood polishing and sweeping goes on up here, I'm pretty sure. Just take a look at the wooden floor. This whole thing is exposed wood. Looks like it's dedicated to a lot of the civic leaders of Tak throughout the years, maybe throughout the centuries. Some traditional instruments. I'm just guessing at what a lot of these displays signify, but I'm assuming that this is a recreation of what a sort of a household prayer room would look like, sort of having a shrine inside the house itself. And this is what I always find the most interesting part of museums, just any old black and white photographs that they put up, especially if you can see the way that people dressed. And I read that's something else about King Rama V. I believe he was one of the first to kind of adopt Western styles of clothing as well. And that might have been another strategy on his part, just to establish, you know, a peer relationship with the European powers, and a clever way to add to his goal of keeping Siam independent. And there's a really nice picture, probably down by the Ping River. And you can see a lot of the homes behind the two girls up on stilts, 'cause I'm sure the river rose a lot higher than that. So this wide shot can give you kind of an idea of what the museum looks like overall. And this is the main floor of the museum. I'm just leaving the Tak City Museum after my visit. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Though, as I said, the star of the show for me was really the building itself as opposed to the exhibits inside. I'll flip the GoPro around for a last look at the at the building. Yeah, look at that. It's just gorgeous. And they have a nice front lawn. It'd be very nice to sit over there with a cup of coffee right now. But alas, not today. Oh, and here's a sign. Welcome, open daily, in case anyone wants to come this way. 8:30 a.m., 4:30 p.m. And there's a nice view of the front. And their spirit house, very much the same style as the museum itself. That's very nice. I'm sure the spirits are very happy with that home. Anyway, I'm walking down this street outside the museum because I think this takes me towards my other goal for today, which is the Chan Bin or Bin Chan Alley, which is an alley or a district of historic buildings. And I think it's in this direction, so that's where I'm walking. Well, that was easy. I found the alley already. And you can probably tell by these wooden doors behind me what this neighborhood is like. And luckily there's a sign right here indicating exactly where the entrance is, and an archway. It's quite a complicated intersection here. I'm not sure how to cross it. Anyway, there's the entrance to the alley. It has an archway up above it right there. And on the banner, there is a sign, the Truck Ban Chin. And I think truck means alley. So this is the Ban Chin Alley. And there's a good example of the architecture here inside the alley. Some old homes. I like the tile roofing. There's another quite interesting building. Democrat Party. So some sort of a political party office right now, but who knows what it was during its history. And a lot of these buildings have QR codes on them as well. Yeah, another interesting building on that side. Yeah, with the QR code. I can hear music and televisions playing from inside some of these buildings. So some of them are still occupied by people, families. I imagine it's quite a bit different during the evening when normal humans are out and about. During the worst of the heat of the day, like today, like right now. You only find people like me out walking around. The sensible Thai people are all probably peering at me from their windows and just shaking their heads. It's like, what is he doing out there? It's too hot. Go inside. Wait until the evening. But what they don't understand is I don't have a choice. By the time evening gets here, my energy reserves are depleted. I have to come out during the worst part of the heat of the day, or I don't go out at all. There's a nice rooftop that captures the tiling very nicely. When I saw this alley on Google Maps, I thought it was marked as a very tiny spot, almost like a dead end. I didn't realize it was a long alleyway like this. So this is a lot more elaborate than I expected. Yeah, it's really nice. Oh, I guess this is a classic example of some kind of construction. Even has diagrams of it here. And QR code. I'll see if I can get some video of it and I'll look it up later on. Oh, I saw photographs of this online actually. This double stairway is quite... With the hot day today, I'm playing a game of hot potato with my cameras. The GoPro overheated again and shut down, so I'm back on the street, but this time with my trusty Pocket 2. We'll see how long it can handle the heat. And there's the building that I was talking about just as the GoPro overheated. Very beautiful, yeah?
You like it?
Yeah, very nice.
Oh.
It's all very nice.
So no.
In there?
Yes.
Your house?
No, no, no.
No.
Every people.
Oh, okay. Every people. Okay.
Are you come from?
Canada.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Canada. Okay.
Canada.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. There's another building right across the alley. And I guess it's also a very famous one or a well-known design because they have a description of it here with some architectural drawings. It looks really large actually in that drawing. People here are very proud of this alleyway. A number of people have ridden by and they've made eye contact and smiled at me. One woman just stopped to chat with me and ask me if I thought all these buildings were beautiful. Oh, okay, this might be the stairway, the famous one that I've seen in so many pictures. And I think maybe the woman was talking about this and I'm supposed to come look at this. You see, it's a very famous selfie site where people can stand up there and have their picture taken. It looks like the kind of stairway you would see in a ballroom where people can enter from above in their ball gowns and then walk down the stairs to the admiration of the crowd below. No, this is a really nice surprise. I wasn't expecting such an extensive collection of buildings like this. Wow. Look at that. With large ones like this, you have to wonder what they were. If it was just a home, then why would you have all these sort of sliding opening doors on the front or windows? Which makes me think it must have been some kind of a large shop, perhaps.
Matt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Big.
Oh, this is a big one?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
It's Doctor.
KF94.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
The same friendly woman that's talked to me before, she came back, and I'm not quite sure why, but she wanted to give me a mask. And at first, when I first saw her handing it to me, I thought, oh, did I forget mine? But then I'm like, oh no, I'm wearing a mask. But I guess she wanted me to, she wants to take care of the foreign tourists coming to her town and make sure that we all have spares and we have a fresh mask ready to go. I don't know how long the official alley goes, but I'm just about to reach the main street, but it's possible that it picks up again on the other side. I don't know why this one alley would either be filled with so many historic homes, or whether it just happened to be that this one alley had all the traditional homes preserved. Probably a combination. That this neighborhood just happened to have a lot of wealthy merchant families who built homes. Yeah, there you can see the entrance to the alley behind me. And they had a large number of these homes, and they just were largely preserved. I kind of like the ones like this that are all broken, smashed up. These are all made out of wood, by the way. I don't imagine they're as old as the buildings here. They were probably built when this was turned into a kind of a tourist attraction. But this one is right across this famous selfie stairwell. Right there. I'm nearly back at the entrance to the alley, and I think this is going to be the end of my midday adventures here in Tak. So I'm going to end this video here. A little stroll down the river, chatting about the national holiday to honor King Rama V, and a visit to the Tak City Museum, and now a visit to a historical alleyway. Not a bad day. It even has a bit of a theme going on. And the overarching theme, dominating all of it right now, is the heat and the sun. And I think that's it for me. I'm gonna head down to the river where it might be cooler, walk back to my hotel along the river, and just sort of enjoy that without a camera running. And I'll see you in the next video.